Hi friends, welcome to another Friday's devotional. Today I would like to have you, if you want to look up the verses I'm looking up, it's in chapter 1 of Proverbs, and I'm specifically going to be talking about verse 7 today, but up until this point, like the first 6-7 verses of Proverbs are actually just telling us why we have the book of Proverbs. And there's some really neat things in here that I think maybe you're like me and haven't read Proverbs in a while. But in verse 2 it starts saying, for learning wisdom and discipline, for understanding insightful sayings, for receiving prudent instruction in righteousness, justice, and integrity, for teaching shrewdness to the inexperienced, knowledge and discretion to a young man. Let a wise person listen and increase learning. Let a discerning person obtain guidance, for understanding a proverb or a parable, the words of the wise and their riddles. And then we get down to verse 7, it says, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Fools despise wisdom and discipline. And I'm just like, well, that's a lot right there. If nothing else, I feel really convicted, really pulled and encouraged to read the book of Proverbs more. And I know oftentimes I've heard of different people who take, because there are 31 Proverbs, they take a chapter of Proverbs and read it daily for, say, the months of the year that have 31 days, which October does. So we're coming up on that kind of time of year. But what really stood out to me throughout this is in the first 6 verses, it talks about some really important things and really things that I would love to have us all excited about, maybe receiving prudent instruction in righteousness, justice, and integrity. Like who could we be if that's what our mark was, right? But then getting down to verse 7, it talks about the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, and fools despise wisdom and discipline. And that part about fools despising wisdom and discipline really stopped me. Because, I don't think anybody sets out in their life to be thought of it as a foolish person. I don't know of any high school kid who says, I want to be known as a fool when I grow up. Like, that's just not what we want. But yet so many of us end up looking foolish, and not for want of it, not for searching of it, but primarily because we don't allow these other things like wisdom and discipline to have a place in our lives. And I know those words are maybe sometimes scary and intimidating, but when we look at them in light of maybe the beginning part of verse 7, where it talks about the fear of the Lord being the beginning of knowledge, think about that in terms of the fear of the Lord is sometimes one of those phrases that we get kind of scared of and we don't really know what to do with it. It actually means just being aware of who God is and who I am, and saying, okay, God, if you are holy, you are awesome, you are mighty, you are sovereign, you're all these things, I'm the opposite. I am not these things. At least not without Jesus covering me with his shed blood. I am not these things. And so because of that, do I even deserve to stand in his presence? No, I don't, but only because of the blood of Jesus. And so I think that's a healthy fear in terms of fearing the Lord, that I'm aware of who he is and who I'm not without him, without Jesus. And it does come back to us being with him in order to find that out. We can learn about him, but yet being in his presence is something different. And I think that is the connecting point for us in being thought of as wise people rather than foolish, is because being in the presence of God, we develop a love for whatever he loves and a disdain for whatever he disdains, right? It's that phrase of break my heart for what breaks yours, O Lord. Because I want to have my heart broken for the things that break his heart. But I won't know those things unless I'm in his presence. And therefore, I won't know and won't have the knowledge, I won't have wisdom to even live my life. But also, sometimes when I'm not in the presence of God, when I'm not regularly meeting with him and sitting and having time with him, I'm less likely to invite him to correct me. I'm less likely to say, okay, God, search my heart and know me. Bring to my mind anything that is not of you. And I tend to just go on my merry way, and that is foolish. That is exactly the opposite of what I want to be known for, and I'm sure what you want to be known for. None of us want to be known as fools. But that's where it is, and I really feel that just this pull, this challenge that more than ever we be people that are wise and not on our own understanding, but on the wisdom and understanding of the Lord that we can have in His presence. And so again, I'm just challenged today and convicted to be more in the book of Proverbs, to share it with my family, my kids, to help them grow in their wisdom, so that when the things of this world come at them, they already have that base of, no, God says this differently and God is different, so this is not what we should be doing. And so for me, that's my challenge today. That's my heart. That's what's been stirring in me this week. So hopefully that connects with you a little bit. I would love to hear if you have a certain proverb that you really keep going back to, that's kind of a wisdom point for you, or maybe something that you have worked on, or even different times that you interacted with the book of Proverbs. I would just love to hear those things. I always like to hear what's going on in your world. So feel free to send an email or a reply to this video, and we will talk to you next time. God bless.